It's King of the Ring season, and I, for one, am really excited. So today, why don't we sit down, get the brackets out, and determine who I think should win the King of the Ring tournament? Because I know that's what you're all thinking. Who does Ryan think should win King of the Ring this year? Well, let me tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 118 Wrestling. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. I have loved doing this channel so far. I'm really enjoying it. If you can't tell, I'm actually putting out videos. I've not gave up after 3, which means I'm enjoying it. But go down below, hit both those buttons. It's absolutely free. It would be much appreciated. So it's the return of the King of the Ring tournament, the first time in a few years after the cancelled event last year. It's happening this year. Triple H will have full control of the King of the Ring tournament for the very first time, which is exciting. And don't worry, I know what you're thinking. Ryan, this is very sexist. Queen of the Ring is on as well. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. It'll get its time on this channel. Today, we're focusing solely on the men's side of things for the King of the Ring tournament. And I'm really happy to have brought it back. Now, I know in the last sort of 2 decades, King of the Ring has just kind of meant nothing from its original inception all those years ago. They've really not handled it well a number of times, and it's not been the same spectacle as it used to be, and it hasn't had as much importance on what it maybe did on careers all those years ago when it first started in the 90s. But I think that this is a really good chance for Triple H to bring it back to what it was. And I think we're already getting the evidence of that. I know that the tournament's already started. So, you know, it's obviously hard to look at it from beforehand, but now when you look at it and you see the names that are involved in this year's tournament and the potential final that we could have in the King of the Ring tournament, I think you can see that Triple H is trying to really stress an importance back towards the King of the Ring tournament and what it can mean for the trajectory of somebody's career. So I'm really excited for where this could go. There is some big names in it, a lot of names who I would love to see win the tournament. And I actually think it matters now. Whereas the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 King of the Ring tournaments, I've been like, does it matter? It's not going to do anything for anybody. Now, it actually might do something. So let's just get into this, shall we? Let's go through the entire bracket, both on the Raw and SmackDown side, make our way to the final, and see who, in my opinion, should win the King of the Ring tournament. So on the Monday Night Raw roster, we already know that's underway. There has already been matches in the King of the Ring tournament. 1 first-round match still to take place at a live event this weekend. So it's currently looking a little bit like this, the entire bracket. And I apologise, the photo isn't in like high definition. This is literally the only image there is online of the entire bracket in its entirety. So I'm going to have to use it and you're going to have to like it. And as you can see, Gunther, Ilya Dragunov and Jey Uso already through to semi-final matchups for their respective brand Monday Night Raw. SmackDown's matches will start tomorrow night. And we're going to go through it just kind of round at a time until we make our way to the final. So, yeah, apologies that some of the matches are already done, but I don't work for WWE, so don't complain at me. Very quickly, I will comment on the opening matches that have taken place. I think that we have seen the right decisions being made. I personally wasn't a huge fan of Jey Uso taking Drew McIntyre's place. However, I am happy that Drew was pulled from the tournament, whether he had to be pulled or not, if the injury is genuinely that bad or if they've just done it for storyline purposes. I don't know. I'm glad that he's been pulled because if he was in it, I think he would have had to win it. And I also feel like there's another couple of guys who have to maybe win it as well. So taking Drew out of it means he doesn't really lose anything. I don't think he can have any losses building up to this CM Punk match, to be quite honest. I think he should be in a hot winning streak. So I'm actually glad he's been pulled out the tournament. But as you can see, Jey Uso beat Finn Balor. Kinda wish Balor won, but Uso is through. Ilya Dragunov beat Ricochet, which was a class match. Absolutely loved it. And Gunther beat Sheamus in another banger. So we're cooking so far. There's only one more match to go in the first round on Monday Night Raw, and it is Kofi Kingston versus Rey Mysterio. And that's happening at a live event this weekend. I believe Kofi Kingston is filling in for reigning King of the Ring, Xavier Woods, due to his injury. So he is representing the New Day and representing Xavier Woods. However, on your bike, Kofi, because let's be real, Rey Mysterio's probably going to win that match. I don't think it matters who wins this match. Ultimately, whoever wins is going to lose in the next round, but I do think they'll give Rey Mysterio the win, and that will set up a nice TV... I don't know how to be nice here, Rey, but you're going to get battered. Yes, absolutely battered, Af Gunter. Yep. So that sets that up. On the SmackDown side, let's start at the bottom of the bracket graphic and start with Bobby Lashley against Tama Tonga, which I actually find quite a hard one to predict, because part of me is like, they're not going to have Tama Tonga lose his first televised singles match, surely. But at the same time, I'm like, Bobby Lashley really hasn't been doing much for a long time now. His WrestleMania match was thrown together. Last year he obviously got robbed of a spot on the WrestleMania 39 card. He deserves a little bit better, and I feel like him losing this match is just another way to push him down the card. And I think Bobby Lashley should win, to be quite honest. But how does Tama Tonga lose? That's the question. Do they get somebody involved? Is there an interference? Does the injured Jimmy Uso maybe appear? I don't know quite how they do it. Will it be Randy Orton? Will it be Kevin Owens? I'm going to stick to my gut here, and I'm going to predict Bobby Lashley. I just don't think they're going to make him eat another loss. And there's so much going on with the bloodline that I think that Tama Tonga can afford a TV loss. And it's not like he's been brought in to be this unbeatable monster yet. I don't think there's any plans for him to go undefeated or anything like that. So I'm going Bobby Lashley. And you might disagree, but yeah. LA Knight versus Santos Escobar is next up. Carlito says his name best, doesn't he? But I think this one is easy to predict. LA Knight will surely win. I think he might be one of the favourites to win the whole thing, to be quite honest. I think he could go all the way to the final, and we'll see how he ends up in my bracket. But I think that Santos is somebody that's an easy win for LA Knight. Santos kind of directionless at the minute, now that the whole LWO stuff is done. Really don't know what's coming next for him. And they've obviously teased this LA Knight match as well last week on SmackDown, but I think that's all it'll be, one match in this King of the Ring tournament, and then move it on. LA Knight probably onto much bigger things following the conclusion of this tournament, but yeah, he's going to win here. Baron Corbin and Carmelo Hayes. I think this one is obvious as well. One of the easier to predict matches. It's going to be Carmelo Hayes who picks up the win. I personally prefer Baron Corbin, and I personally would rather see Baron Corbin win. I am a proud Baron Corbin fan. Always have been, always will be. Love you, Baron. But this is a match for Carmelo to win, isn't it? And hopefully Baron Corbin doesn't get lost in the shuffle on SmackDown. I think it's always a harder show to get the spotlight on you because it's got an hour less than Raw. But I hope he doesn't get lost in the shuffle, Baron. And hopefully they give him a good match to put out here. We know he can deliver it. He's been brilliant since his return to NXT, and I'm looking forward to seeing him in the main roster. But Carmelo Hayes will pick up the win here. And finally, I think this is the hardest match to predict across all of the first round matches. AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. It's really hard to see a clear winner here, I think. There's going to be shenanigans. To some extent, there will be shenanigans. Someone is losing this match in an unfair manner. There's not going to be a clean victory. And that's why I'm going to put AJ Styles through to the next round. Randy Orton doesn't need a win. He is a huge megastar. So is AJ Styles. AJ Styles is a huge megastar as well. But Randy Orton's been caught up with the bloodline stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if Solo Sikoa or Tama Tonga or whoever got involved in this match. And then that'll probably keep on the Kevin Owens and Randy Orton stuff for a little bit longer. And that'll let AJ Styles progress through to the next round. He can't go from a World Heavyweight Championship, a WWE Championship match with Cody Rhodes at one pay-per-view to out of the King of the Ring in the first round. I just think that makes no sense, so I'm putting AJ Styles through over Randy Orton. Which brings me on to my semi-finals, and we start with Monday Night Raw. Gunther versus Rey Mysterio. As I said earlier, Rey, I'm so sorry, but you're going to be decapitated in the middle of the ring by the big bad Gunther, as it should be. I just want this match to be an absolute train wreck for Rey Mysterio. I want him thrown around the ring. I want Gunther to look as dominant as ever, establish his odds of being favourite to win the whole thing. Just make it a tough watch for the kids. Yeah, do that, thanks. And then Ilya Dragunov takes on Jey Uso, which I swear to God, if Jey Uso beats Ilya Dragunov, I will be fuming. I will be absolutely fuming. I don't care if it has to be dirty, clean, whatever. Dragunov needs to beat him. He does. He is 10 times the wrestler Jey Uso is. And I know Jey Uso's got a lot of hype around him at the minute, and I don't mean to sound like a Jey Uso hater, but he should... There is no way you can convince me that he should be beating Ilya Dragunov in the King of the Ring semi-finals. Sorry, Jey. Ilya through, which would set up Gunther versus Ilya. And we'll get to that in a minute. So my SmackDown semi-finals, first of all, would be AJ Styles versus Carmelo Hayes, which has all the potential in the world to be an absolute cracker of a match. We've seen how good Cody versus AJ was. I think that Carmelo versus AJ has the potential to be just as good as that, and we'll probably get it on a televised episode of SmackDown, which is crazy, rather than, you know, a PLE, a pay-per-view event. AJ Styles will win. I think that will send him through to the final. Carmelo Hayes hasn't been brought onto the main roster and given this kind of superstar stature yet, where like him losing is a big deal. He's had his losses, and I actually like that they've done that. I like that they've brought him in and put him straight in matches with Cody Rhodes where he can take a loss and it doesn't affect his stock. Losing to the veterans, losing to the top guys, that makes you look just as good sometimes, rather than getting put in easy wins against mid-carders. So this will be a cracker of a match, but AJ Styles will walk out on top. Which then leaves me with LA Knight against Bobby Lashley. Now, if you remember, in the tournament to crown #1 contender for the WWE Championship, LA Knight was actually in a triple threat with Bobby Lashley. I'm pretty positive. I need to fact check that, but I'm going to run with it. Here again, both men have a solid chance. I think you could argue the case for any of them. But right now, I think it would be daft to have LA Knight eat a loss. His popularity's too high. He's not really got much else to do at the minute, so give him a good run in this. LA Knight would have to win that match for me. And once again, I'll come back to what I said in the first round. I would feel sorry for Bobby Lashley being eliminated, and I'd feel sorry for him having to take yet another loss without direction for him. But LA Knight needs to win. You can't kill the momentum of LA Knight. People love him, people cheer him all around the world, and that would also set up a very interesting what did they call it again? What's that kind? Is it a rubber match? Is it a rubber match? It's slipped my head. Grudge match, rubber match, whatever type of fucking match. It's a match. It's the third time it would happen. LA Knight and AJ Styles. We'll come on to that in a moment. Which means my final on the Monday Night Raw side of things would be Gunther versus Ilya Dragunov. And if that match is set to take place on Monday Night Raw, and it's not like they're going to have, because we still haven't really had it clarified. I don't know if we're going to have 3 King of the Ring matches at the King of the Ring PLE. I don't think so. I think it's only going to be the final for the King and Queen of the Ring. I can't see a world in which they put Gunther and Ilya Dragunov on television. I just can't. Surely they're saving that encounter for a PLE. It makes sense to be the final. I think that's got to be the final for Raw. But surely something's happening to stop that. We've got to save that for whatever the first time it'll be, whether it was Bash in Berlin, whether it was SummerSlam, whether it was bloody WrestleMania next year. I don't think they can put that out on Monday Night Raw, which gets me thinking, is Drew maybe going to get involved? Is Drew maybe going to take out Ilya so that it becomes Drew versus Gunther? Is somebody just going to take out Ilya? I just don't see them running ahead with Gunther versus Ilya Dragunov on an episode of Monday Night Raw for the first time ever on the main roster. It'd be different if they'd already fought at a pay-per-view. They've not. So I just don't see it happening. However, we've got to speak hypothetically, and hypothetically, if it does happen, I do think Gunther will win. I don't see Gunther losing. I think he'll go into the final of the King of the Ring. If it does happen, then be seated, because we are in for a cracker on Monday Night Raw. And then that means the final on SmackDown would be LA Knight versus AJ Styles, which just makes sense to me. They had their first match at WrestleMania. LA Knight got the win. They had their second match in the final of the #1 Contenders Tournament. AJ Styles got the win. So for the third time, for the grudge match, for one last time, we will see LA Knight and AJ Styles. The winner goes to the final of the King of the Ring tournament. That's what I see happening. And I don't know who I see winning. I tell you that right now. I love LA Knight, and I would love him to go to the final. He's one of my favourites in the whole company. One of my top 3 guys maybe right now in the entire WWE. Top 3, top 4. I love him, and I would want him to win. But I have a feeling if it does go down to Styles versus LA Knight, I think Styles will go into the final, because I think that the company would love to put on Styles versus Gunther as the King of the Ring match. because it could be an absolute classic. It could be one that people tune in from all around the world to see because they know it could be a technical wrestling spectacle. It could be brilliant. So I think that AJ Styles would win. He wouldn't win clean, obviously not. Whether it's a dirty finish again, he could do that, or whether maybe Logan Paul gets involved and costs LA Knight the match to set up Logan versus LA Knight. Something will happen which will make AJ Styles win the match, and that's my prediction. Which brings me on to the final itself, where I have managed to put all roads towards Gunther versus AJ Styles in the final of the King of the Ring tournament. And what a match that would be. It is scintillating stuff. It makes your mouth water. And I think we would all be seated for that, wouldn't we? We would love an AJ Styles versus Gunther final. It's a dream match, kind of. And because they're on separate rosters and there's no guarantee that we would get it in future, this would be the perfect time to just get that dream match out the way. Where I think, being honest, Gunther has to win. I think it's most believable. I think when this tournament was made, most people around the world, most wrestling fans were saying the same thing. It's a tournament tailor-made for Gunther to win, to bring back the importance of the King of the Ring. You know that they're not going to shove a stupid King Gunther gimmick together. He would take it. It's basically his character as it is. He's the ring general. So instead of the ring general, he would be the King of the Ring. It just works. It's perfect. It makes so much sense. And it's the greatest recovery imaginable. Aside from maybe winning one of the world titles, it's the best recovery from losing his Intercontinental Championship to Sami Zayn. So it just makes sense for Gunther to win this tournament. I think it's all fell together nicely for him to win it. And it's just another it's another accolade for him to be this monster in WWE who's meant to be solid to beat. You know, he's lost one match on the main roster. Well, he's been pinned in one match, I should say, on the main roster, and it was to Sami at WrestleMania. So to then go undefeated through an entire bracket, it just makes sense. Continue building how good he is. It was a blip. It was a bump in the road, that loss to Sami. And AJ Styles doesn't need to win King of the Ring. He's, 40 odd years old. He doesn't need King of the Ring. He's an established star. And so is Gunther at this rate, but by winning King of the Ring, it just gives him more pedigree for the casual viewers who would tune in and go, this guy must be good. He won King of the Ring. So I think Gunther wins this if that's the final. Ultimately, whoever the final is, I think Gunther's going to win it. He's my prediction to win the whole thing. Right, that does it then. There is my predictions for the King of the Ring tournament and who I think should win and how they will get to that win, with a few wee theories of finishes here and there. Let me know who you think should win King of the Ring. Let me know if it's the same as you want to win King of the Ring. You know, obviously your heart wants something, but your head says something else. Let me know in the comments below. But thank you for tuning in to 118 Wrestling today, and I'll see you all next time.